What is going on, you guys? Welcome to our first YouTube video of 2024. Very excited for this year and excited for today's video. Today is the day we will finally go over the numbers in terms of what we've actually sold and how much money we've made from our recent Disney buyout. A lot of you guys have been patiently waiting for that information. We went sourcing a couple days ago. We'll throw some of that footage in today's video as well, and also just talk to you guys a little bit about our plans moving forward in the business for 2024. So let's kick off today's video with a nice little time lapse of me cleaning up this huge pile of junk that's been in front of our warehouse for a month and a half while I tell you about several things that are just on my mind at the moment. So first of all, if you've got a huge pile of junk in front of your warehouse or anywhere else in your life, definitely take some time to clear it out. I promise it's not as bad as you think it's going to be, and the result will be well worth your time. Number two, if you are at a point in your business where you're hitting about $40,000 to $45,000 a year in taxable income, your actual taxable income after expenses, and you are still a sole proprietor, you haven't formed an LLC yet, please talk to a tax accountant about making that switch because you can probably save a good amount of money. I'm not going to get into it in depth, but make that phone call. Second of all, if you're looking for a bookkeeping solution to keep your books in a better order than they were last year, I would highly recommend My Reseller Genie. You'll learn about those guys with the link in the description of the video down below. Great people, great product. Would highly recommend. Fourth of all, I lost track already. Haley and I are probably going to travel some this year. I don't know if we're going to go to Europe or maybe Bali or Thailand or something. So drop some comments in the video down below. Let us know, where do you think we should go? What vacation do you like that you would recommend to us? Also, I have a really cool book recommendation for you guys. It's called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. Fantastic book. I would highly recommend you guys read it. You can listen to the audiobook. It's by John Mark Comer. Fantastic read. Haley and I both really enjoyed that. So getting into this Disney haul just a little bit. We'll go over the exact numbers near the end of the video, but first I want to tell you guys about a couple different issues we had with some of the items. It wasn't anything terrible, but there was a whole box of like Marvel wallets. I think they were probably 12 to 15 years old, and they were like that fake like leather material. And we sold one of them, and then we had an issue where the buyer said that it was basically like falling apart, like disintegrating. And then I went and looked at the rest of the ones in that box, and all you had to do was like rub your thumb on them, and the material on the outside of the wallet was just coming off. So we had like maybe 30 wallets like that. They were all new with tags, but they were just so old that they were literally disintegrating. So we had to toss those, lost out on a little bit of profit there. And then the other issue we had is that a lot of these ink pens, we have a lot of these like single ink pens like Donald Duck and like Koosh pens, like clicking pens and stuff. They're all like 10 to 15 years old. So the ink is dried out in a lot of them. They have ink inside, but they're just not writing. And we got scared because I thought we were going to have to, you know, throw out this entire tub of pens because they don't work. But I did some Googling, and we found out that if you just heat up the tip of the pen a little bit, that kind of unclogs it. We just tried it out on some pens over there, and it seems to be working.
Tip though, don't hold it like, okay, so this is our heat gun, right? Don't hold it like right here.
That's what I did on the first one, and it just like melted.
You'll melt it. But it worked for the second one, and this one, I think it's this one or...
Yeah, we haven't used this one yet, so I'll show you. Like, this one's definitely not there. This one's definitely not writing, right? So let me show you. Why don't you hold the gun and I'll hold the pen up to it. Just hold it right above the pen for a few seconds. There we go. So now we have to sit here with the heat gun and all of these individually pens, but I feel like it's worth it. I mean, the pens retailed for like $7 to $15 a piece. But we've got the whole bag, and some of them are cooler. Like they have Tinkerbell pens, and
like we even have like the ones with like the faces on top. But we've sold a lot of these little like Koosh pens. Yeah. They're like, a lot of them are limited edition and whatnot, and people really like these on whatnot. These retailed for $7 each at the parks.
We have several like bundles. Remember, had the Christmas bundles, like a lot of 3 that retail for like $30. And we've got these that are like full on a whole bag of Tinkerbell pens. So, but these are like sealed at the bottom, so we've got to like open them up and do that. I don't know if we would like fix all of them ourselves or just like tell people like, hey, here's how you fix it. You could probably use a hairdryer or heat gun. That would be the easier method. But as for issues with stock, we've been through pretty much everything we've bought so far, and that's the only issues. We had the box of wallets that were disintegrating and a big box of pens that were dried out. But if that's the only issues we found so far, that's pretty good. So of course I spent all that time this morning loading up the trailer to take all that stuff to the dump, but then I realized the dump is not open today. So I unhooked the trailer because I didn't want to drive around with it all day. And then Haley and I loaded up all these packages from yesterday's Whatnot shows. So it was January 1st and we did 3 shows total. Each show was about 2 hours long, and then I think we sold a total of like maybe 220, 230 items between each of the 3 shows. So a very productive start to our new year. In addition to the post office, I'm also going to go to Play It Again Sports today to see if we can sell them this tennis bag and this Medicus driver that are 2 items that are part of the house flip budget. Like I said in the beginning of this video, we did go sourcing a couple days ago as part of the house flip. So let's go ahead and jump into some of that footage while I'm on the way to those 2 places. Our friend Furman over here has a bunch of plush for us. He comes to the bins all the time to find cool plush, and he just knows that we like them, so he saves them for us. And then usually once every 2 or 3 months, we go to check out the trunk of his car and do a big buyout. So he's got a lot for us to look at today. Let's see what kind of plush we're working with.
So you said this is Squishmallows. These are all like video game stuff. We got like Five Nights at Freddy's. Oh, that was fun.
It's a Pokemon.
Pokemon. What is this?
Pokemon.
Little sheep.
It's a Pokemon.
Yeah.
You can tell she's not a real trainer.
That was, I said that's random, whatever. If y'all want it, take it. That's just like stuff I threw in.
Oh, this one is? Yeah. DeLorean. Squishmallows. All right, so you've got $3 into all this.
Potentially.
I'll give you 9.
Potentially.
I'm just kidding.
No.
What do you want?
I don't know. What do you want to pay?
To pay?
Yeah.
About $100.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
That's what we did last time. So.
Yeah, it's like a once every 3 months thing. You
Yeah,
just
well, I
you
just get
collect.
them and they sit in my tub in my bathroom.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean, I got to get rid of them at some point.
Yeah.
So whenever I catch y'all within the trunk.
There you go, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. So out of the big plush collection we picked up from our friend Furman in the Goodwill parking lot, we've sold 6 of them already. I didn't want to sell everything. I just want to sell a couple of them to get an idea of maybe an average selling price to see if $100 was a good deal. So we've sold this Creeper. The Creeper sold for 13 bucks. That's pretty good. This Ponyta Pokemon sold for 13 bucks. Donkey Kong sold for $7. This yellow one from Five Nights at Freddy's sold for $17. This Bulbasaur sold for $8. A little low on that one, I think. He's so cute, but still pretty good. And then finally, this Bonnie from Five Nights at Freddy's sold for $23, bringing us a total of $81 in revenue from all these plushes. So after fees, we made about $72. And that was only 6 plush. We still have everything in this bag over here. Bunch of Pokemon. We got this big sheep guy. He should do pretty well. We got this other big Pokemon monkey fire guy. We've got some smaller stuff like Super Mario. So really good, like recognizable characters, which is what we look for when we buy plush. So being so close to our break-even point already, we still have the entire bag of Squishmallows that we got from him as well, and the other bag of like smaller, like lesser known characters, but they'll still sell. So I think it was a good deal. We should be able to easily at least double our money on this buy. Dropped off everything at the post office. I'm here at Play It Again Sports. Again, I have this tennis bag and the Medicus driver. The tennis bag came from the bins, probably have about $1 or 2 into it. I think we paid $15 for the Medicus driver. I'm not sure they'll pay us much more than that for the Medicus. It goes for like 40 to 60 or so on eBay, but we'll see. They did not want to take the Medicus driver, so they let me keep that, but they did give me $10 in cash for the tennis bag, which is pretty good, because like I said, we got like $2 into that. So adding $10 to the house flip budget, and I guess we will just list the Medicus on eBay. Again, they go for like 40 to 60, so we'll probably put it up to like 35 or so plus shipping, give somebody a really good deal. Anytime we go to Play It Again Sports, I also like to go to Plato's Closet, which is basically the same store except clothing instead of sporting goods. So I'll go ahead here and see if we can find anything to quick flip today and make a couple bucks. So I didn't film inside of Plato's Closet, but everything still has the price on it, so you can see what we paid. I also had a 20% off coupon that I used on all this stuff, so I spent a total of $48.80. I'll put a screenshot on the screen here of the transaction from my credit card. All right, so first thing, look at this cute little Hello Kitty tote bag. It's like purple and metallic. This was the most expensive thing. It has a little Hello Kitty thing on there as well. I think this was $30, so 20% off would be $24, I believe, and I'm pretty sure we can get more than that on a Whatnot auction, but we'll see. I also got this Vera Bradley crossbody strap. It's like a Kabu bag, but it's Vera Bradley, and it's new with tags, Vera Bradley. Retailed for $59, and I got this for 12 bucks, 20% off that as well. I got a modern Star Wars graphic t-shirt for like $6, I think. So, well, $7 on this, which is kind of a lot to pay for a t-shirt, to resell, but I thought it was really cool, and stuff like this typically does pretty well on our Whatnot shows. And then last but not least, I got this really nice Ralph Lauren wool baseball hat. It's got the Polo P on the front. It's got a little Ralph Lauren embroidery on the back, leather bill, and a strap back. Really, really nice hat. This hat probably retailed for like $50 to $75, and I got this for $8. I don't know where the price tag went, but $8 on that. Pretty cool. Oh my gosh, you guys, look at this. I just noticed this. Look. It's a lounge fly. I didn't even know it's lounge fly. $30. I feel so much better about this now. There's nothing on the front or outside that says lounge fly. It's on the inside. $30 for that. Well, $24 when I got the 20% off coupon. That is crazy. I don't think Plato's Closet knew it was Loungefly either. So this little trip to Plato's Closet is going to be coming out of our house flip budget, $48 and however many cents coming out, leaving us with that amount on the screen in the corner there. But I think I'm going to do a quick Whatnot show just with these 4 items I just picked up to see if it's a good deal. And now that we know that the Hello Kitty bag is a Loungefly, I'm really confident it's a good deal, but I'm kind of curious to see how much money we're going to make. So let's jump on Whatnot, sell these 4 things, and I'll be back with you in just 1 second. I would highly encourage you guys to sign up for Whatnot if you haven't already. From a buying perspective, you can get some absolutely killer deals on there that you could flip for profit on another platform or back on Whatnot itself. And from a selling perspective, personally, it has changed our lives completely. New users do get $15 off their first purchase, so click the link down below, sign up if you haven't already. So that Whatnot show went over very well. It was very quick. It only took maybe 5 or 10 minutes to sell 4 things. The Star Wars shirt was the first to sell. We got $18 for that one. PJ Hutchinson, $9.29, bought that. Very nice, turning 7 into 18. Love it. We sold the Ralph Lauren polo hat for $30. Very solid deal on that. That's probably close to what we could get on eBay for that one. I think it's a really nice hat. We actually learned that it is like the hat part is 100% wool, but the bill is 100% leather. So really, really nice quality hat. $30, pretty good deal on that. The Vera Bradley bag over here sold to, the hat sold to Apex Jeff. Thank you so much, Jeff. Autumn Mounts bought the Vera Bradley bag for $37. Very nice, turning 12 into 37. And then, of course, the Hello Kitty bag. I think this person, Western Sierra Treasures, bought it. I think they got a pretty solid deal. They bought it for $62. Someone said they found like a pink one or a very similar one that sold on eBay back in November for like $140, which I definitely believe. And we had like 250 people in the show, so I kind of thought it would go a little bit higher, but I'm definitely not one that's going to complain about more than doubling our money on that bag alone, and everything else was nice profit as well. Altogether, we did $147 in total sales, and after fees, shipping, and all that stuff, we're walking away with $128.80 just in those 4 items we picked up that a random Plato's Closet stopped today. So definitely very great. So one of the reasons I wanted to add that little snippet of us actually buying and selling something on Whatnot in this video before we talk about the Disney haul is because Whatnot has played a huge role in us selling a lot of this Disney stuff. So first I figured we'd talk about how many things we've actually sold out of this Disney buyout in the last couple months since we bought everything. Originally they thought there was going to be 3,000 items total, but as we boxed stuff up and moved it over here and got it on the shelves, we realized that number was very low, especially if you count individual items like Disney pins or like ink pins like we showed earlier. Just that one box of ink pins was probably 200 or 300 items, So far on 3 different platforms, eBay, our booth, and Whatnot, we have sold 6 items on eBay, but those were pretty good items. We've sold 10 items at the booth, and everything else has been sold on Whatnot. Now I'm trying to figure out how many items that was. We've so far done 45 Whatnot shows over the last couple months that were exclusively items from the Disney buyouts. It was either Star Wars stuff, Disney stuff, action figures. It was all stuff from this buyout. And on average, so it's hard to get an average, right? Because when we sell stuff and Whatnot, I can look back at our shows and see how many items we sold, but it doesn't tell me if those items were a lot of 3 pins or like just in our last show yesterday that we just shipped out today, one item sold was a lot of 10 Star Wars figures. So even though it says one thing sold, it was actually 10. Also, in our very first couple of shows, like the first 3 or 4 shows, prices were a little inflated because people were excited about the haul and they wanted to get first dibs on stuff. So if somebody bought 2 or 3 pins and we thought they paid too much, we would add 5 or 10 or 15 pins to their order to like help maintain, the customer relationship there. So Whatnot doesn't show that either. So I think on average, I think our highest show in terms of sales was like 220 things, and that was on Black Friday. And our lowest show was like 35 things. That was just like a little quick pop-up. So I think it's safe to say that we have probably sold an average of 150 items per show for 45 shows. So 150 times 45 gives us a total of 6,750 items sold so far. Again, there's no way to know if that's exactly right, but I think based on what I just explained, I think that's a pretty fair estimate of how many items we sold. Let's knock it down to 6,000 even, just for giggles. That doesn't include the 16 things that we sold on eBay and the booth. So far up to 6,016 things. But what's crazy about this haul is that we still have so much stuff left. This is what we just sold yesterday. We haven't shipped that out yet. We still have one little shelf of ornaments here. The 2 shelves on the bottom, no, maybe just this one bottom shelf still has some ornaments on there. We've got all these action figures. There's some boxes up top. There's probably, I don't know, 150 items on that shelf alone, maybe 200 items between the 2 shelves. We've got all these shelves right here, not these bags, but the bottom shelf, that bottom shelf, all this is Disney Haul stuff. That's probably another, I don't know what, 250 items. Now we're up to like maybe 500 items left. We have all these graphic novels left. I've done 3 or 4 graphic novel shows. We've probably sold about 150 books so far, but as you can see, we probably still have 150 left to go. We have all this stuff, the 2 boxes right there. These have like pins and lanyards and stuff in them, just in this bag. It's like a bunch of Tinkerbell pin lanyards. I don't know how many there are, probably 40 of these. So again, if we're counting individual items, that's 40. There's a bunch of books. There's another bag of lanyards. I mean, there could be 200 items in that box. This box is all pins, like Disney pins and ink pins, like a whole thing of Koosh pins. There's probably another 200, 300, 400 items in these, these 2 boxes. We've got all this stuff down here. Probably have 30 or 40 hats in this bin. We've probably got 25 or 30 tote bags in that one. We've got more bags in that one. This whole box is filled with hats. There's hats and beanies and stuff like that. There's probably, could be 100 in there. I think this box is filled with totes and little handbags. There's probably 50 to 80 handbags in there. Another tote of hats. I mean, we have like logs of hats, like all these Superman hats. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, I think 12 hats in just there. Whole tote just like that. Box of blankets. That's a box of plush. That's a box of plush. I think that's a whole box of plush. Another like half box of plush down there. Another 300, 400, 500 items. And then of course we're getting into the Star Wars section. Everything on this shelf, that's at least 100 items there. We've got all this Disney Star Wars stuff left over, all the different individual Disney characters. There's, I don't know, at least 100, maybe 120 of those left. We've got this whole box of pins that I showed you earlier. We've got 4 boxes down here of more Star Wars figures, Darth Maul. We've got another box up here of pins, probably another 150 pins in there. But wait, we've got another box of Star Wars stuff down there. We do have another box over here. I thought it was just bags of like Ziploc bags. We've been saving these, but there's keychains. We've got some Jasmine. We've got some Winnie the Pooh. We've got more Disney. I think there might be some Disney pins in here, but mostly keychains. Got some Star Wars wallets. More pins. We had a lot of these like birthstone things. They're Disney pins, but they're birthstones for different princesses. We got some more Disney pins down here. That's some like Tinkerbell stuff. And then it goes all the way down to the bottom. I mean, there's just in this box, there's got to be 300 or 400 items, So just in the stuff I've showed you already, like all the stuff, all those action figures, all the books, I think it's safe to say that there's probably like 2,000 items left, right? I think that's a reasonable amount to assume based on what we see here. But what we haven't even talked about yet is all this stuff over here. All of these are Disney pins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 boxes of Disney pins. We've got some loose ones down here, like Wreck-It Ralph. We've got Jack Skellington, some Muppets. Over here we have some of the bigger sheets, like the multi-packs. We've got this whole bag here of like mixed ones that could go in there. We've got more here, more pins, more keychains. This is a whole bunch of Jack Skellington ink pins. All this is Disney pins. The bags are like organized based on like characters and stuff, but every Ziploc bag has pins in it. There's what? There's like 30 pins in that one bag. More pins at the bottom, more pins at the bottom. I forgot this box has a bunch of loose pins at the bottom. Some Marvels, Disneyland. It's kind of hard to see how many there are because there's so many freaking Ziploc bags in the way. But I'm hoping that you guys get get the deal. This is all Cinderella. This whole big Ziploc bag is filled with Cinderella pins. There's probably 100 pins in this one bag. This tub up here doesn't look super full, but it's definitely got some pins in there. But this tub is pretty packed. We got a lanyard set, we got an action figure, we got more pins, more hats in here, some Superman hats. And I think there's those other 2 boxes down there. I think that might be everything. So that is what we have left that we have not sold. And I think conservatively, we've sold at least 6,000 items so far. So I think it's pretty safe to say that we had between 8,000 and 9,000 items in this haul that we paid a total of $10,000 for. So let's say we've sold 6,000 items on Whatnot so far and remaining 2,500. Even though I think we probably have way more than that, I just want to be super conservative when I go over these numbers because I don't want anybody saying that I'm, exaggerating anything. And the reason it's important to know roughly how many items we had altogether is so we can do the math to figure out how much we paid per item. Some of the items were really good. Some stuff we sold on eBay for upwards of $300. Some stuff is like, keychains and little ink pens. So there's a wide variety in value, but on average, if we bought 8,500 items for $10,000, that means we paid $1.17 per item. As far as the 6 items we sold on eBay, 3 of those were just higher value Star Wars sets that were like Toys R Us exclusive that had sold comps on eBay between $200 and $300. So we took 3 of those out, Kim did, and it took pictures listed on eBay, and all 3 of those have sold. I think we have maybe 2 left listed for like $299 that haven't sold yet, but 3 of them did sell. And the other 3 items that sold so far, I think we have like a Darth Vader Loungefly bag, a BB-8 Loungefly wallet, and like some other random thing, like not something super expensive. But altogether on eBay, after fees and shipping, we made $878.12 between those 6 items. Then we have the 10 items that we've sold in our booth. I think it was like one of the Chippendale Star Tours, like Star Wars figure sets. I think we sold a lanyard set. We sold a couple hats, like 3 or 4 hats. Just random stuff like that. Nothing too expensive. Between the items that we sold, the 10 items that we sold in the booth, we did a total of $187. And that is after the booth takes their 10% commission on that. So the 6 items on eBay gave us $878.12. The 10 items in our booth gave us $187.00. And then we're left with these 6,000 items we sold on Whatnot. For how much money? How much money did we make on Whatnot? Let's take a look at it. Before we get into these numbers, I do want to preface this a little bit by saying that I am well aware that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We can resell for the rest of our lives, and I don't think any of us will ever find a deal as profitable as this one. We're extremely blessed to have been given this opportunity. We're extremely blessed to be in a financial position where we could afford to purchase a lot this big. I know a lot of people don't have the financial means to do that. So I never want to share this information and come off as braggy or boastful or anything like that. We're just doing it in the spirit of transparency. And I think a lot of you guys are curious to see how much money we've made. But I just want to make that very clear. We understand that this was a huge blessing. We don't want to take that for granted. And we're super thankful for everybody that watches our videos and comes to the Whatnot streams or eBay or whatever and has purchased items from us. I just want to make that very, very clear. You guys are awesome, and we could not have done this without you. So I have a little Google spreadsheet here where I was keeping track of all the Whatnot shows as we did them. Again, we've done a total of 45 shows in the last 2.5 months or so since we've gotten the haul. The bulk of those shows have been in the last month like the last half of November up into December. We were just really trying to end Q4 on a bang. The first 3 shows we did back in October, I think, with the Disney stuff did very, very well. I think our first show, I don't have the dates on them, so I'm trying to remember. I think the first show we did $4,960.80. That was a pretty big show. I think it was like 130 to 150 items. And once that was done, I was like, okay, we just made almost half of our money back just in that one show. This is going to be a crazy haul because at the time we couldn't even tell we sold anything. There was so much stuff in our warehouse. I was like, Haley, this is going to be the craziest thing we have ever purchased. This is going to be wild. The next 2 shows, and maybe it was a couple days or a week between those. The second show we did $4,618.91, and the show after that we did $4,980.88. So in 3 shows in, we had already made like $13,000. We'd already made our $10,000 back, and we were already in the pure profit. 3 shows in, and we still have 42 shows left to go. I don't want to sit here and go through all 42 shows individually. I'll say we had some lower shows. We had a $325 show. We had a $393 show. Those were probably pop-ups where we sold, 20 or 30 things just in a quick afternoon. I'll say our largest show ever was Black Friday. Whatnot was running an offer where they weren't doing any seller fees. So I said, Haley, we need to take advantage of this and sell as much of this Disney stuff as we possibly can. So Whatnot gave us a little giveaway budget, so we had some money to spend buying some giveaways to entice people to show up to our show and buy some stuff. We gave away a PlayStation 5, an Xbox Series X, and a Nintendo Switch. When you give away stuff, it typically gets people to stay in the show. So I think we had over 1,000 people in the show at one point, and prices were really good. We sold, I think, 220 items in that show, and we made a total after Whatnot. Well, there was no Whatnot. There was still like a payment processing fee of 2.9%, but there was no selling fee of 8%. So after that payment processing fee and shipping and everything like that, we made $10,498.03. And again, that was our largest show by far. We didn't even have another show close. The first 3 shows were in the $4,000 range. That show was $10,000. Everything else was between like $1,000 and $2,500, but there's 41 of those. Again, I'm not going to go over everything, but just to run down the list a little bit, we did a 1341 show, we did a 1928 show, we did a 2228 show, 2054, 2118, 914, 2547, 1275, 1558, 1564. You can see once we're in the profit, and all of these are pure profit after fees and expenses, it grows and it grows and it grows. And then when you sell a total of 6,016 items, that's when the money really starts rolling in. So far in this Disney haul, first 6,000 items sold with roughly 2,500 items left to sell. We have done a total revenue between eBay, the booth, and Whatnot of $90,338.69. That is after fees and shipping. That is not after the $10,000 cost of goods. Once we pull that out, that leaves us with a total profit so far of $80,338.69. I will add here that we have had a couple other extra expenses outside of just the cost of goods. I cannot explain to you guys how many boxes and how many rolls of bubble wrap and poly bags and all this stuff we've used to ship out all this stuff. We also have Kim, our helper, who we pay to ship all this stuff. If I haven't kept track of all that individually, I wish I would have for the purposes of this video, but either way, it's still an extremely profitable endeavor for us. It's the most profitable flip we've ever done by far. And in the original video, I said it was a $100,000 Disney collection, and I think we will definitely hit $100,000 at least in revenue from this once we get all this other stuff sold. Again, already at $90,000 in revenue, so I think being able to make another $10,000 in sales between everything that I showed you guys in the earlier part of this video, I think is super reasonable. The Disney pins have been especially good. I think on average, we're getting like maybe $10 to $12 per pin, which is nothing crazy, but when we're selling 100 or 150 or 200 pins at a time, it really adds up. And I know there's probably going to be some people out there that say that we're only making this amount of money because we have a large Whatnot following and people are overpaying for stuff. But outside of the first 3 shows, and the Black Friday show, I will say people were paying up. Like we were selling most everything for at least full retail. Some stuff went over retail, but something to remember as well is that a lot of this stuff that we have is between 10 and 15 years old. So the retail price that's on the item, like we might have a pin lanyard set that retailed for $50, but that retail price was 2011. So that same pin lanyard set at Disney today might retail for $80, so prices are kind of, even if they sell for over retail on the sticker, it might still be under retail based on today's value, if that makes sense. And again, it was really just the first 3 shows where people were really excited about the items where prices were a little inflated. And again, if we felt like people were paying too much for their items, we were giving them a bunch of stuff for free. Like if they bought a Frozen thing for $30 and we thought they overpaid, we would just grab 3 or 4 more other Frozen things from around the warehouse and shove it in their box. So if you are watching this and you've bought something from us on Whatnot and we've given you something free in your package that you didn't pay for, drop a comment if you don't mind. I'm just trying to get a gauge of how many people we've given free stuff to, because it's been a lot. We've given away so much stuff because we want to keep you guys happy. Like the having the ability to sell this stuff on Whatnot without having to list it in inventory and wait 6 to 9 months for it to sell is a incredible blessing. And the last thing I want to do is have a customer mad at us because they have buyer's remorse. I want to take care of you guys that come back to our shows and buy stuff. because we still have stuff to sell. You know, you got to take care of the people that take care of you. And then in the Black Friday show, where we did just over $10,000 in net revenue after fees, prices were a little inflated in that one because we did the 3 buyer giveaways for the game systems. But outside of those 3 shows, everything else has been selling for usually under market. Like we've got these blankets right here. We sold a couple of these yesterday, Mickey Mouse blankets. They retailed for $32.95 back in 2012. They're probably $50 blankets now, and usually these are selling in our Whatnot shows for $15 to $18. We've got a lot of these like smaller Star Wars figures that retailed for $12.95 at the park. We usually bundle 4 or 5 of these together, and they're selling for $35 to $40. So those are selling under retail. I think the only thing that's been consistently selling in multiple shows for technically over retail are some of these Star Tours, Disney as Star Wars character action figures. One, because they retail for so cheap, $8.95 retail on most of these, but that's from 2010, 2011. So the retail nowadays is probably $25 or so if they make them. A lot of these are retired and they don't make them anymore. So like we had this Goofy as Cad Bane. He's been going really well. We're probably selling him on average for like $50 to $70 a pop. I think this little Stitch guy's been doing pretty good too. The Pluto as R2-D2 has been doing really well. So I think these have been a really solid moneymaker for us. Another thing that's selling technically above retail, but not really. Once something is retired, the retail price is kind of out the window. I was thinking back at some of our other like top sellers. We had like these Vera Bradley wallets. We had maybe 25 of those that had like Mickey Mouse and Mickey like hidden all over them. Those did really well. We probably made like $70 on those on average, between 20 or 25 of them. And there was just like boxes of crazy good items. And we were loading it up, and I opened a box and it was filled with like those BB-8 Loungefly wallets. We might have some somewhere, but those were really good. I mean, it retails for $50 and we had 50 of them. I'm like, this is just the craziest collection I've ever seen. And it's not junk. You know, a lot of people say, oh, Harry Turner, they just go to the bins, buy junk and sell it to their viewers. I get that. Some of the stuff we sell can be considered junk, but this stuff is not junk. This was just the craziest haul I've ever seen anyone have the opportunity to buy. When I found it and when I said the price, I was like, dude, I've only got $10,000. When he told me we could buy everything for that, I mean, it was just absolutely crazy. And again, I'm not sharing this with you guys to brag or boast. Again, we are so thankful for you that all that buy from us on Whatnot and watch our YouTube videos. Thankful for that dude that gave us opportunity to buy this. We've just been so incredibly blessed with this haul. We're trying our best to give back. We've been given to charities. I was able to do something really nice for a family member of mine. I don't want to get into that, but we've used the money to bless others as well, which I think is very important. So anyway, I'm not here to like defend ourselves or anything like that. I just want to share this information. And again, it's funny because I say I'm not being defensive, but I'm hearing what I'm saying and it is sounding pretty defensive. I think it's just my personality. Anytime you share something like this, I just go overboard to make sure people aren't like offended by it, even though I know it's not my job to keep people from being offended. I don't know, I'm babbling, but there it is. Transparency in our Disney haul. That's how many items we've sold roughly. That's how much money we've made exactly, not counting Kim and boxes and stuff like that. But is it more than you thought? Is it less than you thought? Do you like videos like this? How much money do you think we'll make once everything sells? How much longer do you think it'll take us to sell all this stuff? Again, I said it was 2,500 items remaining, but when you count all those Star Wars figures and action figures and all that stuff and hats and plush and all these pins, I mean, there's probably over 1,000 pins just in this section alone. So I don't know. We're going to be very busy, but thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope you liked it. If you did, definitely hit the like button down below. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to this channel moving forward so you don't miss out on any future uploads. Thank you guys again for watching. You're the best. We will catch you on the next one.